Let's go to the NBA, ranking the top 5 players in the NBA under 25. And number one, I'm gonna go with Luka the Don. Okay, this guy is leading the league in points per game right now. Currently, I believe 33.5 points per game, 8.6 assists per game, and 8.8 rebounds per game. I mean, he carries a heavy load every night. We know he has to be the guy. He lost Jalen Brunson. We know he was going to have to be even more of the guy because you don't have that shot creation that can help you out. And, Jalen Brunson was literally the second best player offensively on that team. They lost him. No problem. Listen, he got his team to the playoffs last year, got them to the Western Conference last year. There's nothing more else to say. They beat the Suns in Game 7. He went off in that game. He got them to the Warriors, gave the Warriors a little run there. I think they stole 2 games from the Warriors, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 1. Zay, help me out here. 1 or 2?
One, right?
1? It was 2, right? Yeah, it was 2. They stole 2 from the Warriors. They gave them all they can handle. I mean, vision. He can stop on a dime, change direction. He can penetrate. He can do it all. He can score. He's like a Larry Bird. He's a Larry Bird of this era right now. I'm going Luka the Don at number 1. At number 2, I'm going to go Ja Morant. I know this is going to be very, very debatey because I have him over a particular guy that I'm going to put at number 3, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. I got Ja Morant at number 2. Explosive. Dominant. Right? He doesn't probably have the physical dominance, but he has the skill dominance. Okay? And dominance comes in all shapes and forms. That's why Steph Curry is number 5. Okay? Or top 5 in the league in general. Right? Because dominance comes in all shapes and forms. I mean, highlight reel. He's actually the best player in the pick and roll. He's leading the league in points per game off of pick and roll. 14 points per game off pick and roll. Okay, he's establishing a 3-point shot that's going to make him even more deadly when you have to defend that. If he knocks those down like at a consistent pace, I don't know how you stop that guy. I'm going with Ja Morant and what he's done in the playoffs the last couple of years. I mean, Freddie, we talk about playoffs and how that makes you and gives you names and credentials. Yep. I mean, Ja Morant in the playoffs, come on. Yep. So I got him at number 2. At number 3, I'm going to go Jayson Tatum at number 3. Whew. I do think he's physically gifted. I know that's going to raise eyebrows. You got him ranked lower than Ja. This is why. I think for me, Jaylen Brown, although I acknowledge what could be, what it's happening right now, like he's playing good right now. He might be in the conversation for MVP right now. I mean, he's going off. I mean, he can feel his way into games and he can create, he can facilitate, he can score, he can defend. But I would like to see him kind of go off in the first quarter. Like, I feel like when I watch Tatum, he eases his way into the flow of the game. And if you didn't have a guy like Jaylen Brown who could score the basketball the way he does, especially in the first quarter, then your team possibly could be trailing. So that's why. I feel like I'm missing that killer instinct. And I saw him in the finals. It was Jaylen Brown that was picking it up. He was the one scoring the basketball. We needed more from Jayson Tatum. If we got more from Jayson Tatum, they would have won the championship. So that's the only reason why I'm putting Ja over him, is because I like Ja's mentality of I'm going to score. And that's it. Get out my way. At number 4, I'm going to go Trae Young. Listen, there's no such thing as a bad shot. Even though I do think that he takes a little bit more than he should from like deep. If you're a shooter, you can play with him because you're going to get open looks because of all the gravity he pulls in. If you're at the rim and you could rim run, you're going to get looks at the rim. I mean, playing with him, it opens up the floor. So even though, there's a couple intangible things that got to be, fixed. I think if he plays off ball, like can move off ball a little bit more, that would make him even more lethal. I think from a 6'1" perspective, he got a mean floater for a guy 6'1". Underrated floater, by the way. I got him at number 4. At number 5, I'm going Zion. At number 5. I think in this era of shooting, and I understand that we live in the shooting era, he's not great in that department, but he has an ulterior motive, which is to ground and pound you in the paint area. Play bully ball, right? Everything is at the rim, but he can put up numbers. He can put up a lot of numbers too and have a crazy stat line without the shooting. So that's a testament to the New Testament of him being able to bully you. Even though he doesn't play a lot, when we see him, we know that dominance is there. And it's hard to defend. That's why I got him at number 5. So to recap my list, number 1, Luka. Number 2, I got Ja Morant. Number 3, I got Jayson Tatum. Number 4, I got Trae Young. And number 5, I got Zion. I'll pass the mic.
Man, Zay, can I go? Can I jump on that?
Absolutely, all you. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Oh man. We got a lot of the same people. Don't get me wrong. List totally different though. Totally different. Okay. Number 1, I got Jayson Tatum, and clearly you had him 4. I think you had him 4.
Nah, three.
3. This man can play defense, and we don't emphasize defense enough, but this man plays both sides of the ball. He can score with the best of them, he can shoot with the best of them, he can dribble with the best of them. But the one thing he can do better than Luka, although Luka can pass better than him, he plays defense. That's half of the time you play basketball, you actually playing defense. This man can check people, big people, small people. I watched the man check Kevin Durant in the playoffs and kind of shut him down. That's what I saw in my own eyes. In real time, in real playoff games, I need a dude like that on my team. I saw Luka get exposed defensively. So when I see that, and I see teams attacking Luka defensively as that's his weakness and is glaring half of the time he play basketball, half of the time he's under par. Yeah, it's a problem for me, and I'm going to take Jayson Tatum for it. As Luka led his team to the Western Conference Finals, Jayson Tatum led his team to the NBA Finals. Both took 2 games off of Golden State. So I'm taking
Jaylen Brown kind of helped out, but I'm gonna shut up.
No doubt.
He helped. It was a tag team. They both took them there. Okay, don't disrespect Jaylen Brown, brother.
Yes, no doubt. Now, my second, it is Luka. Luka is that guy. As I just talked about him from a defensive perspective, but offensively, the man's phenomenal. He rebounds, passes, scores with the best of them. From a historical perspective, this man's going to go down in history as one of the greatest players of all times. As you called him this era Larry Bird, you got it right on point. He does everything, man. He controls tempos of the game. He don't have super athleticism, but you can't speed him up. He don't look like he's not athletic out there. And the numbers that he puts up, the man is clutch. He can shoot. I like his moxie. You know what I mean? I like his willingness to go against the tough dudes and to play against the tough dudes. Take on all the tough defenders. Give me Kawhi Leonard. Give me Paul George. I'll take them. I'll bust them. I love this dude. It's nothing that I don't like about Luka. I just take Tatum just a little slight here from the defensive perspective. Now let's go to my number 3. I'm taking Trae Young. Okay? I love this dude. Okay? And if we forgot, 2 years ago, he took his team to the Eastern Conference Finals in the playoffs and took 2 games off the Milwaukee Bucks. This man is phenomenal. Give that man some help, and that man is going to show up. That man is clutch. You want to talk clutch? That's a clutch cat. You want to talk fearless? That's a fearless cat. You want to talk leader? That's a leader. That's a dude I want on my team. I will take that dude and start a franchise with right away. Love Trae Young. He can shoot. He can pass. I think since he came into the league, over Luka, he got more 10 games, was 30 points, 10 assist games than anybody since he came into the league. This dude is phenomenal. We underestimate his passing. He got passing ability. Like you said, there is no bad shot. The man can shoot the 3. He got the floater. He's clutch. He's tough. He's feisty. He's willing to fight against anybody. I love that dude. Okay, so that's my number 3. Okay, now this is really gonna shock y'all. Number 4, LaMelo Ball. I love this kid. Now, clearly he's injured this year. We might have forgot about this guy, but this dude can pass, shoot with the best of them as well. He's a leader. I like leadership. That's like an intangible that a lot of people don't really talk about, but I think LaMelo, if you pin him in the right, you want to talk about box office? That dude's box office, okay? You put that dude in the right stage, I don't think he's going to stay in Charlotte. You put him with the right team, that dude is going to lead a team to a championship. He got sides, he can pass, he's fancy, he can dunk, he can score, he can shoot. He actually is starting to play better defense before he got injured. I like him. I love this dude. I think, I don't know, I think, what is he, 21 or 22? I'm not sure. So he's kind of way under 25, but I love that dude. I'll take LaMelo Ball at number 4 because I like his height, his length, and his passing ability, his scoring, and he can shoot. And he can rebound. Like, he can do it all. Like, he's not, he can't shoot like Trae Young, but he's a tallerish Trae Young in my perspective as far as passing ability and scoring floaters and shooting 3s. And then we get down to my number 5. Clearly got to be Ja Morant. No disrespect to Zion. Ja Morant, and look, he's phenomenal. Explosive at the highest of levels. Stuff that we never even seen. And Ja Morant easily can rise up on this list. Easily can. I mean, if you want to put him over LaMelo Ball, I get it. I think because LaMelo Ball is injured, so I don't want to just. I love him. I love this dude, but Ja Morant is coming and he's coming fast. Okay, he made his first time in the playoffs last year. He was explosive. That argument you can go against because LaMelo Ball didn't make the playoffs, and I get it. I'm just a fan of the height of LaMelo Ball, but Ja Morant is explosive. He's clutch. He got the fiery. The only thing I want to see from Ja Morant a little bit more is playmaking ability. I would like to see him make his teammates a little better with his passing ability. Defensively, you know, he still got some struggles that he needs to work through. But at the end of the day, I'll take that dude on my team. I'll start a franchise with that dude. So just to recap really quick, I got Jayson Tatum. I got Luka the Don. Okay, I got Trae Young. I got LaMelo Ball. And I got Ja Morant. The floor is yours, Zay.
Y'all both have very explosive lists. I think they're both really good and really great for conversation starters, and especially talking about the under 25 youth movement, because everybody right now was playing elite level of basketball are really 25 and under essentially. I'm gonna go 5-1 because I think a lot of guys that a lot of things you said, y'all kind of already hit it over the head. You already mentioned it, so I'm gonna go with number 5. For me, I'm gonna go with at number 5, Trae Young. I think it's self-explanatory. I think this year he's not playing as well as everyone anticipated, but we know what he's able to do when his team, you know, is back against the wall. What he's able to do against teams that have a little more star power, and he's like the underdog favorite. You know, a lot of guys like him. He's the villain of New York. A lot of guys hate him in New York, but you know that's the kind of energy that we needed in the NBA. These like kind of self-imposed rivalries, especially when the first couple seasons he wasn't really playing too hot. You know, there was a lottery pick team. Nate McMillan took over and took that team. You know, changed a couple things, tweaked a couple things to make sure Trae Young is getting the most opportunities to A, make the offense flow, B, score the game-winning shots, which he's been able to do since Nate McMillan has taken over. At number 4. I'm going with my boy Anthony Edwards. The man is lights out, and you came in, you know, scoff at what Anthony Edwards has been capable of doing at this young in his career. His athletic ability, his ability to shoot the basketball, his ability to play defense, all at high levels. You know, we're talking about damn near all-star levels potentially this season, the way he's playing. And, you know, it's been like that. He's been on a high motor since he walked into the league. You know, no disrespect to LaMelo Ball, because LaMelo Ball is my guy. I've been talking about LaMelo Ball heavily in many friend groups. You know, I love his game. I love his playmaking ability. But we're talking about getting a bucket and playing defense. That's the definition of Anthony Edwards. He's a guy who's able to get the basketball in the hoop, and a guy who's able to stop the best opposing player on the other side of the field on a court. He's not scared of anyone. He attacks everyone at any given time, and that's the type of basketball player you love to watch play. The top 3 is where everything gets dicey. This is where things get a little it's tough, you know, because of how things impact each player. So number 3, I'm gonna go with Ja Morant. You know, Ja Morant, as great of a basketball player he is, I can't put him at number 1 or number 2 because I've seen his team play better with him off the floor. I've seen Desmond Bane and Dillon Brooks, Jaren Jackson Jr. play better basketball when he is not on the basketball court. He is a basket. He is a guy who can get buckets out of nowhere, just make things happen when nothing is there on the basketball court to get. And he's someone that when you look at Ja Morant's game, you know that he's going to get a bucket no matter what. He's a very high octane player. He's able to dunk on anybody or get to the hoop at any given time, which we love. The only knock I have opposed to the other 2 guys I'm going to mention is that he, you know, his team plays better when he's down the floor. And that's the only knock that I have. If that wasn't the case, he would have been number 1 for me easily. But he's number 3. Number 2, I'm going with Luka Doncic. You know, Luka Doncic, as people call him. I call him Hala Luka because the man just makes plays out of nowhere. The man is a miracle worker. You know, it's self-explanatory. If he's not on the Dallas Mavericks team, they're a lottery pick team. That team can't go anywhere without Luka. Luka is the engine. He is the gas. He is literally the car maker. He does everything for this team. You know, everyone's driving and he's flying planes. That's what this man is doing. He's able to do the impossible. And I got Luka Doncic at number 2 because the man at number 1 does it all, and that's Jayson Tatum. The man plays defense. The man's able to shot create. You know, this man took the Boston Celtics, a team that looked out of it mid-season into the NBA Finals run. That could have
with Jayson Tatum, hello. I mean, with Jaylen Brown, hello. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen. You know, you can say everything you want, you know, about that regarding that. But the fact of the matter is that Jayson Tatum he had to elevate his game in order for that team to go somewhere. You know, it could have been Jaylen Brown, it could have been anybody, but he had to elevate his game because the whole knock on is Jayson Tatum better than Jaylen Brown is because Jayson Tatum played defense. We saw all through the playoffs, Jayson Tatum was locking up KD. Jayson Tatum was defending Giannis. Jayson Tatum was defending Jimmy Butler. He was doing it all in that playoff stint, and you can't even say he wasn't because he did it all. And, you know, and that Jayson Tatum was able to score buckets in high magnitude, and you know, unfortunately, they fell short against the Warriors due to the turnover issues. But you know, Jayson Tatum had to elevate his game when everyone else was still just coasting at the top. So, you know, I think Jayson Tatum at number 1 right now is fair until, you know, proven otherwise. But him, Luka, and Ja Morant are all close to each other. It's not like a far-fetched way above everyone else. They're very close. Ja Morant could easily take over that spot with a Western Conference Finals appearance. Luka Doncic could easily take that spot if he goes to the finals. It's very close. So my list goes Anthony Edwards at 5. Trae Young at 5, Anthony Edwards at 4, Ja Morant, Luka Doncic, and Jayson Tatum at number 1.
I want to just quickly jump in here. We need to stop this Jaylen Brown disrespect here. Clearly, if there's no Jaylen Brown, they're not making the finals. And I can say the same thing about Tatum, too. Like, that's why when I have conversations about Tatum, I always bring up Jaylen Brown because they do it together. Like, where Tatum lacks, Jaylen Brown picks up. And where Jaylen Brown lacks, Tatum picks up. They complement each other pretty well. And Jaylen Brown is averaging 26 points per game right now. I understand Tatum is averaging 31 points per game right now. But they're doing it together, okay? And I'll just leave that there. Number 2, when you talk about Ja Morant, you made a comment about the team being better on the floor without him, which was the case last year. But this year, they actually are playing better with him. The swing rate, I believe, is 14.3 points per 100 possessions when he's on the floor. So they're actually playing better in that statistic this year with him on the floor. And we saw when he wasn't on the floor in the playoffs, how they needed him on the floor in the playoffs. They needed that dog. They needed that guy that can get his shot. So, Claire, I understand what you did there, but they need him in the playoffs, okay? So, I'll just leave it at that. Your role players, you know what they do in the regular season, but you know what they can't do when you need a bucket in the fourth quarter in a pivotal playoff game against the Warriors. You need your star there. So, yeah, I mean, I think the list was good.
Yeah, no,
and I'm going to leave it at that.